All right, folks, from the West Coast to the East Coast and everything between, folks. You are live with Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop. We do it on the Thursday, y'all. I got a special guest from the West and the East Coast, y'all. From the East Coast, it's going down. Stick around, folks. All right, y'all. All right. Chat room is already here. They already lined up in the chat room. What's up with you, Tyler, Easy Steve, Raw LMC, Rashad Cobb, everybody, y'all waiting on me. I appreciate that. I love it when it comes like this. I see Bernadette. What's up, Bernadette? Where you at, Bernadette?
Hey, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can't see you.
This is supposed to be about you and Dre. I'm the behind the scenes queen.
Say what? Now it looks like we may have to do Dre for behind the scenes.
I said I was behind the scenes. You got Dre?
Dre was having some issues with his video. I'm gonna call him from my phone and bring him in through the phone. All right.
Okay.
Celebrate life. OG, I see you in the house, folks. Much love to you. Bernadette, you gonna stick with us? You gonna you just gonna hang in the shadows?
I'm gonna hang in the shadows, but I'm gonna share it on
okay,
Dre's
fantastic.
page.
That works all day. I'm gonna call Dre right now.
Okay.
All right, folks. Sometimes we have a technical issue. Dr. Dre's phone is not connecting to the service like it's supposed to. Not his fault. It's just sometimes technical situations happen like that. I'm gonna call him on the line right here, bring him in through the mixer, and hopefully we can hear him. Dr. Dre.
Yeah, hello.
Can you hear us? Okay.
I hear you on the phone. Yeah, but
yeah. Don't worry about it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it from the phone, Doc. Don't even worry about that. Relax. We're gonna do it from the phone. Bernadette's on the other line. Huh?
I wasn't excited. I just I don't like when things don't work.
I understand.
This is yours.
Yeah, this is some this ain't Zoom. This is a little bit. Sometimes it can get a little tricky, but we gonna make it happen no matter what. Okay, this is what we do. All right, folks, on the line right here, I have my man, the legend, the East Coast legend, the brother that brought you your MTV Raps, the other Dr. Dre. What's up with you, Dr. Dre?
What's going on there, Lonzo? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I I kind of threw some things out there today. This is for some fun. Just make sure people read. And most of them read it, and I appreciate that. And I threw out there the Dr. Dre and Lonzo. Do you know Lonzo Ball at all?
What? Lonzo? I think I've heard the name, but no.
Okay, Lonzo Ball's a basketball player. He's the only other Lonzo. So that makes me the only Lonzo between two Dr. Dre's. Okay. All right. That's some rare stuff right there. And
that's definitely rare.
I'm the only Lonzo between two Dr. Dre's. So I'm gonna take that in stride and keep it pushing. How you doing, man?
Man, it's a good day so far. Everything's lovely. Technology is driving me a little nutty, but everything else is fine.
You know what, man? It does that from time to time, and I used to get mad at it, but I just realized that's part of the game. We doing some high tech stuff here. We doing things we've never done before. I'm in my living room. I'm in my studio, broadcasting all over the world, literally all over the world.
That's the blessing.
We have fans in China, in England, and Australia. So to be able to sit here, man, and do this from my house is a blessing within itself. And every once in a while, shit just don't work out correctly. And you know what though?
Because
I'm gonna play it.
Technology.
It's
just technology.
It's just ones and O's, baby. It's ones and O's.
I don't trip on it.
Okay. So, but see, a real old school player always got a backup plan. There's always a plan B. Okay. Always a plan B. So I figured if it was going any kind of issue, I can always call you. We can do an audio, video / interview, and you're gonna say the same stuff anyway.
Pretty much. You just don't see my handsome self.
You know what?
I went through all the thing. I'm shaved, got my hair did, got my new shirt on, and it's like, dang.
Got your new Jerry curl.
I'm still here.
I ain't mad at you, Doc. Hey, you know what?
Man, I Jerry don't curl no more. Jerry don't curl no more.
Now you know what? Here's really crazy, and folks. Now, I've been talking about this for the last couple of shows, and when people ask, I'm going to the Super Bowl Sunday, folks.
Mm-hmm.
People automatically assume it's because of the other Dr. Dre, because he's doing the halftime show.
Mhm.
And
congratulations to him and
Snoop and
Eminem,
Mary
Eminem,
and Kendrick.
and Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, congratulations. Everybody's talking about it. We should see. I hope it's as successful as what it's being led up to be. Because I like to say, let's just go and enjoy it. Let's see what later.
Let's make it happen.
Don't put no hateration on it. Just sit back and enjoy it. There you go.
But what was funny, man, is no matter what I tell folks, they still think it's coming from the other doctors. Oh man, Dre hooked you up. Technically, no, but I am going because of Dr. Dre. Okay, and here's the true story, folks. Here is the true story. Dre and I have been working. Dr. Dre, I got to distinguish them between the two.
MTV Raps.
MTV Dr. Dre.
Who's
Dr.
the man?
Dre. Who's the man? All that right there.
Who's the man with the other Dr. Dre with Ed Lover?
Right.
And T Money.
He and I have been talking about doing some things to try and bring another level, another what we call it, another.
We want to bring a different kind of celebration
to hip hop,
to the music that we've been a part of for so long. And I always go back to say, rap music as it became hip hop music, and the culture, the music, the dance, the art, everything. And we want to not bring it back, or we want to just actually not even reinvent. We just want to say, check this out. This exists too. That's all.
Right.
That's all we're saying. This exists too. And if you want to ride this way, ride this way. So we don't hate on either way you want to ride. But we just want to say, here's another door. Come on through. You might like this too.
Exactly. So in doing that, Doc, I have to say, tell the story. I got to tell the story, folks, because we were doing this in the past. Dr. Dre and his virtual assistant, who just fell off the screen, Bernadette, okay, introduced me to some folks that were attached to the NFL. And I tell people, I tell young people all the time, don't be too proud to volunteer. Don't be too proud to volunteer. Nobody knows what you can do. Sometimes volunteer is like a mixtape. You got to give it away. Sometimes your skills is like a mixtape. You got to give it away to some people to see what you do. So me and my crew of the Lyrical Revolution volunteered to work at the Super Bowl, but also in order to get to the Super Bowl, you had to work at the playoff game, which was at the SoFi Stadium. And we did that, and we did such a good job. They locked us all in for the Super Bowl. Now, Super Bowl tickets is $60,000. Last night, me and my partner, one of the board members of the Lyrical Revolution, were looking at the parking for the Super Bowl. Parking, the highest parking we found so far was $6,600 at the SoFi for Sunday. $6,600 to park your car.
Wow.
$6,600.
They need to come to my other house out in Inglewood, and I'll only charge you $600 per car. That you can actually park 4 more cars than me. But that's another story.
Now, Bernadette just joined us again. Much love to you, darling. I see you over there. I got you in the corner over there, right there in the corner, tucked away real neatly. So now, and I'm looking, I'm like, ain't nowhere in the world I could wrap my head around spending that kind of money. If I had it, it might be different. But in this current Lonzo financial condition, no, okay, I'd be broke. I'd be totally broke, and I'd have to walk home. You can't even catch a shuttle. There's a freeway that runs down the 105 freeway, which is an LA situation. To catch,
I know about the 105.
Okay.
I've been out there. I know about the 405, the 105, the 10.
Okay,
the 5,
there you go.
You name it. I even know where that stadium is. So
all right.
Don't think because I'm over here in the cold, I don't know about the heat this weekend. Yes,
now,
indeed.
So to go from 105 to the stadium on the shuttle is $500. Okay, it's about a 2 mile ride, but it's $500. All right. So all that being said, I do my show for a couple different reasons. One, to share some current events, talk about some current events, but also try to be a mentor to some of these folks out here some youngsters think they're too good to work for free. Well, because I work for free, one day I get to go to the Super Bowl. They're gonna guarantee my nonprofit gets some money for their services, and we get all the amenities like people bought tickets, T-shirts, the whole 9 yards. So I'm looking forward to it. Only problem I got, we got to be here for 4:30 in the morning to be there for the Super Bowl. But damn it, for to save $60,000, I damn sure be there at 4:30. Dre, much love to you and Bernadette for hooking us up with this. And
you got it all the time. Look, come on, we go back too far. And the thing is, I will be driving 2 or 3 different Lyft cars that day for under $500. And again, I am parking at my Inglewood home, which after the call, Lonzo will give you the instructions for how to reach out to me. And you know what? We're gonna set up some hammocks and some other stuff. We're gonna have some wheelbarrows so we can rickshaw people over to the stadium. We have to do that because my job is to help volunteer and also try to make a buck for my foundation, the Dr. Dre Victory Foundation. We'll tell you a little bit more of that as we go along.
Now, Dre, before we go into what we plan to do, we got to talk about this latest acquisition from Snoop Dogg. I know you heard about this, right?
Tell me about it. Snoop
Dogg just bought the rights to Death Row Records. Okay. Snoop just acquired the rights to Death Row Records. I've heard he was talking about doing that, but as of yesterday, that's the number one thing on the news that's trending right now on the news feeds, on YouTube, Instagram, everything. I think that's a great move on his part. Don't know if any catalog is going to come with that, but
that was my next question. But go ahead.
But to be able to hopefully reignite an era that we all loved. I can say hated, but we knew it. We knew it wasn't 100% what we needed, but it was good at the time. You know what I'm saying? It was good at the time, and I think it's a good. If we can bring back the G-Funk, okay, I'm gonna be a happy camper.
Well, let me jump in there for a quick second.
Go for it.
Because I was kind of there when they were pouring the concrete and they were digging the ditch and starting to put the bricks together to build that home. Peace, blessings, and love to him, and I wish him all the luck in the world with it. But make sure, and Snoop, you're now old enough to understand, whatever you do leaves a mark for the younger audience and your audience too. So understand what you're doing is very sentimental for you, and you have a great affinity to it because your greatest successes were with Death Row, Dre, Warren G and company, all you guys out there, Nate G and everybody. I just want to see what he's gonna do, because in today's world, labels, the record business has changed. It's not really a label thing anymore.
Right.
Sometimes we get in nostalgia, because I was signed to Def Jam Records back in 1986 with my group Original Concept. I've been making records since 1982, and I actually am the person that signed Public Enemy to their Def Jam deal. Because we all used to go to school at N.W.A. University, and there was a radio station we had up there called WBAU 90.3 FM, 516-747-4757. You got Dr. Dre in the operating room on WBAU. And I was there with Hank Shockley, Keith Shockley, Butch Cassidy, at the time, Chucky D, and the one and only
inevitable. Did you say Chucky
MC
D?
DJ Flavor.
Did you say Chucky D?
Chucky D from Spectrum City. Now, we met at our class, a black music class by the late, great Dr. Andre Strobert, Mr. Bill Stephanie, who had the Mr. Bill show. Before I followed in his footsteps, you had Chucky D, a.k.a. Chuck D, Public Enemy, and of course, Harold McGregor, also Harry Allen. I got to ask him and myself in this one class. And from there, we created history with being at WBAU. So I made a couple of promos that we would play, and they were pretty popular. So I got to meet Rick Rubin and played it for him, and he just lost his mind with 2 songs we did. One was called Knowledge Me. The other was called Can You Feel It?
Okay.
It became what you call hip hop instant classics or as Chuck would say, this Dr. Dre is the father of the modern 808 beat, because that's what I did. I created that sustained bass sound. And the biggest hit I had of those records was a song called Pump That Bass, my original concept, which I wrote on the back of the tour bus with the Beastie Boys, because I used to be their DJ. And I also wrote a song on the Raising Hell album with Run DMC with my group original concept, T Money, Rapper G. We wrote a song called Proud to Be Black. So as you would say, volunteering and doing stuff for free. When we did all of that, that was, I go back to that time. And I say that was the greatest time of my life. Now, when we were going through it, it didn't feel like it. But when you look back and you realize where you come from and where you went and what you did, even my blessings with Ed and T and being on your MTV Raps, that was almost like icing. But my real cake, my real foundation, and that's what I'm saying to Snoop, when you have that, you want to go back to that comfort zone where those things worked out for you so well. I mean, we had from DJ Red Alert, Cool DJ Red Alert, Chuck Chill Out, the Beastie Boys, Africa Bambaataa. There's interviews of KRS-One and Scott LaRock when they came to BAU and they were on my show. I've interviewed so many different people, the Salt and Peppers of the world, when they were Super Nature. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. That's why right now I'm in negotiations to do a series based on what happened in my life before there was a MTV Raps. So this is going to be a lot of fun because you're going to see all the kind of crazy stuff and the early ways we used to DJ and what we have to be creative and make, and the stuff that wasn't what exists today, what we had to make up. So the beauty was Spectrum City, they had an office and a studio at 510 South Franklin Street in a dentist office. And we were up there, we used to hang out there all the time between that space, the Chinese restaurant across the street, White Castle, and sometimes a good diner. I mean, that story and what we did, I think people need to see that. So you understand where this music and where these energies came from. I was around with all the controversy during Public Enemy. I was around during the controversy with Dre and N.W.A. And I'm the one who brought Ice Cube to the Bomb Squad for his first album, America's Most Wanted, because he called me and he came on the set of the MTV Raps and he said, "Dre, could you introduce me to the Bomb Squad?" I said, "Come on, Cube, I'll pick you up." So I picked him up with Keith Shockley and we drove out to the studio out on Long Island. But the rest is history. You can watch it when you see the show that we're going to do with it because it's a lot of fun. So today, when you talk about we want to open this other door, I don't want to put down today's young musicians, today's young rap artists, hip hop artists, male, female, you name it. They're doing it the way they see it and what they perceive. What we want to do is say, we know you love this music. And there's a big article in Atlantic Online talking about how a lot of these streaming networks are going to be dropping these younger artists because all their business is coming from music back then. That's just the fact. People
right. I saw that. Go ahead.
They're buying it in droves. So
I'm
going back in the studio and I'm working with my son and we're putting some music together. I'm working with some other folks and it's just, I'm going back to that mode. And the funny thing is, my son who's a musician today, a very extremely talented musician, plays 9 instruments, graduated 5 Talents College, on magna cum laude. He's extremely talented. How he records and does stuff versus how I do it, we clash all the time. He says, "Why you gotta play it so much? Why you gotta listen to it? Why can't we just do this?" I said, "Because you gotta get into it, man. Just easy.
Yeah, don't rush. Don't rush.
Have fun with it." But his energy is so infectious, and you want to be like, yeah. So it's going to be something a lot of fun. That's what I think, and we want to put that back in the music.
What's that? What you want to put? Dre. What you want to put back in the music?
FUN.
One more time, Dre. Fun. One more time for the old school, please.
UN. No, I don't use the term old school.
Okay, that's right.
For example, I'm gonna tell you why. Because recently we lost Kango Kid.
Yeah.
From UTFO.
Yep.
a man who was with the educated rapper Dr. Ice and Kango Kid made the rap group UTFO.
Much love,
People
Marlon.
herald Roxanne Shante for creating the Roxanne craze. No,
Right.
it was UTFO. These guys were international superstars. I mean, before you could point a finger at, they were beyond what you would see today as a pop song or pop record. They were as big as the Sugar Hill Gang at their heyday, and with a big hit record.
Yeah.
Out of that spawned Lisa and the Cult Jam, Full Force, the Real Roxanne. I mean, all that lineage that went with it. And to sit there and listen to artists today and act like that contribution didn't matter because it's not today.
It's disrespectful.
Do that.
That's
Rock
disrespectful.
and roll
Rock and roll does not do that. You're right.
Country Western
Don't do that.
Do that.
Don't do that.
Artists. So it's like the one thing none of these young artists understand is you can't beat Father Time. That's why I took the old out of it.
Okay.
Because if Earth, Wind, and Fire sells more records than you and has a 60-year, 60
6-0, baby,
recording career, and they still perform, I'm like, damn.
And can go anywhere.
Richie can go and no matter what you do, you can watch TV, you can be on the radio, you're gonna hear an Earth, Wind, and Fire song.
Right.
You're gonna hear that influence. Parliament Funkadelic. You're gonna hear that influence in everything we do. So if Snoop's going back and rebranding and re-putting up Death Row, and the G-Funk's coming back, hey, just keep it on record. That's all I gotta say.
You know,
because we got a lot of issues out there with people with a lot of gun violence, a lot of deterrence with other stuff, and we need to spin that now. And we need to get back on us,
on some fun, baby.
Bring some fun on it. Yeah.
You know what? I gotta give my chat room a quick shout out. My man Martin Cozy. He says he's sorry, I missed last Tuesday. I was in New Orleans, and he had some of them cherry bombs. And boy, I know about them cherry bombs. You ever had a cherry bomb, man?
No, I have not.
Cherry bomb, and it's another drink they have out there. It's the most deceiving thing in the world. Cherry bomb is a real what's it, maraschino cherry?
Maraschino cherry.
Soaked in 151 for like 30 days. Okay.
Wow.
And you eat this son of a gun, and you eat it, and it tastes. You can taste the liquor, but you're eating a cherry. And you don't know until you get ready to stand up that you can't walk no more. Okay. And now, I understand. I'll give you
a quick New Orleans story before it was hugely possible with the Essence Fair down there. I went down there and I got this drink called a whalebone.
Okay.
You know what that is? What's that long plastic drink?
Nope.
That you get and they fill it up with all types of liquor.
Okay.
And the guy says, "You're not going to finish this." I said, "Yes, I will." "What are you talking about? This is nothing." Because I was bigger than I am now. I'm like, "Please, I can handle my liquor real well." I got halfway through that thing, Lonzo. I don't even remember my first name. So I guess he gave me the cherry whalebone bomb.
Yes.
In there. So New Orleans, Louisiana, big shout out to them all the time. Love that town.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I love that we build it up. And they got some great candidates running for a political office. Please support. That's how we're going to be able to actually change things. If we don't support, we don't go out and make those changes, don't complain. I tell people, stop whining, stop yelling, criticizing, get out there, mobilize, vote, and push your agendas forward. We may not win them all, but we can win a few and keep going on.
And
that's all I gotta say.
I tell people all the time, man, I ain't voting because it don't count. If your vote did not have any value, they wouldn't spend so much time trying to steal it from you.
Exactly.
If it had no value, whatsoever, they wouldn't spend as much time. What you call that? Gerrymandering the lines.
Voter suppression.
They passed a law last year in Georgia. You can't give nobody no water if they're in line. You can't give them a sandwich if they're in line.
And voting. Voting is your constitutional right. It doesn't even say that in the Constitution. Oh, you just stand on line, man, somebody a drink. That's crazy. First of all, why are there lines to vote? That's the hypocrisy in it all. Because they don't want you to do your voting by mail and send it in so they have to count those votes too. Look, my biggest thing here is to tell people, stop the whining, stop the crying, stop the marching and protesting. Get out there and make real change. And you have to go out there and get everybody out there. Get every young person that just turned 18. If your state is now allowing people who've been released from prison, whether they had a felony or misdemeanor, get them to vote. Don't waste these votes. We have to make great change. Don't blame Biden. Don't blame Kamala Harris. Blame yourself. He's doing all that he can. Understand, he's the president of the United States. He can't just say, do this, and people do it. That's not a president. That's a dictator. That's
Right.
why, which is hysterical to me, our last president not only broke the law by flushing important documents down the White House toilet. When they went back to get it, they're now taping these things together with Scotch tape because this is illegal what he did. So he's running away from the January 6th insurrection they pulled. But I don't want to go down this path. We're not here to talk all this politics. Let's raise this bar and have fun tonight. Talk about some really good things. And if you got any suggestions, any comments, right into
the comment the chat room is lit up right now. Love you, Dr. Dre. I love what you say. Which came first, Yo MTV Raps or Yo?
The first show, Yo came from England.
Okay.
It really did, from this woman named Sophia.
Okay.
And our executive producer, Peter Darty, was working at MTV there. And he brought the show back here. Not the same show she did there, but the idea. His production assistant, Ted Demi, who eventually became the producer of Yo MTV Raps, got with Peter and they went to MTV and they said, we need to do a rap show. Because at that time, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five were on MTV because of a song called White Lines, because of another song called The Message. And then Run DMC broke grand ground with their song Rock Box and King of Rock.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew that this thing was about to explode. And then you have DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince with Parents Just Don't Understand. So it was simmering and bubbling. So they had the forethought to do a pilot with Run DMC and Jam Master Jay, the late great Jam Master Jay. And they did it at the Def Jam tour with Public Enemy on stage at the Nassau Coliseum where we grew up. And in that pilot, I'm on stage with my Def Jam jacket introducing Public Enemy. You want to talk about irony and coincidence. And after that whole sequence went down, they hired Fab Five Freddy to be the weekend host. The show took off. Peter met me while I was DJing at a nightclub in the city. And I knew him from my days with the Beastie Boys. And he walked up to me and handed me his card, which had MTV on it and a shamrock. He said, I want to talk to you about Yo MTV Raps. Have you seen it? I said, yeah. He said, come to my office, let's talk. And that's in my book. All that's coming out with this series we're going to be talking about. But that's how Yo MTV Raps kind of got its
they got a question for you. I got a couple of questions from you from the chat room. Easy Steve says, Dr. Dre, what was it like kicking it with N.W.A. on Yo MTV Raps, and what was your last memory of Eazy-E?
Okay, what was it like kicking it with N.W.A. and what was my last memory of Eazy-E? I'll go to this first. When Straight Outta Compton, the video was delivered to us, and Ted called me in the office. He said, I got to tell you something. There's another guy out there calling himself Dr. Dre. Should we play this video? And I sat there and I thought, and I said, of course we should play it. He said, you sure? I said, I have no right stopping or trying to put up a hurdle or a wall in between their potential success because he says he's Dr. Dre. We'll work it out. Don't worry about it. And from that moment on, we played Straight Outta Compton. But we also loved Easy because we want Easy. We saw that song. And when we first met Easy, Easy was one of these guys. He played shy and he played like super laid back. But when the cameras were off, He was a prankster.
Right.
He was a great prankster.
People don't know that about him. He does. It was he was two different people on and off camera.
He had an image that he portrayed in front of the camera, but off camera, I mean, I hung with them as hard as they hung with each other. I was out in LA more than I was in New York from time to time, and we had a very good relationship. I had no animosity with Easy, even when the group sort of started breaking up, because I used to speak to their manager Jerry Heller all the time.
Okay.
All the time he would call and Dre, y'all need to come out here. We're gonna pay y'all to come out here and do the show. There's shows of us that we did at this Lawson Swap meet together, and an infamous picture of myself, Dre, Easy, Ed, T Money, Yella, Ice Cube, Ren, this crazy picture, and we did everything as they were coming up. Because they're the ones who brought us out there so we could get our embroidered jackets and hats that we wore. So everything works hand in hand. And the thing is, we love the music, and that was the one thing. My early training from BAU always was, don't deny anybody an opportunity that they can perform what they do. We don't judge it, we play it. Let the audience be the judge, and that's why you saw N.W.A. out there. And I got to give a big shout out to Ralph McDaniels and Video Music Box and their documentary with Nas and Mass Appeal that's on Showtime.
Okay.
Because they gave a big shout out to us on, being your MTV Raps, and he tells his story his way. We're going to do the same thing. And the thing is, people say, well, was he first? Did y'all copy him? It wasn't about copying. He did his way what he did. We were offered an opportunity to come be on MTV. And we understood whatever we did, Ed and I made the first thing we said is, don't break who we are. Do not go on here and clown for MTV or be MTV VJs. We would never call VJs. We will always call hosts. And that's why our evolution on the channel, and me bringing on my partner T Money, Ed with Ed Lover Dance and Company, and Fab Five Freddy, we had phenomenal time there. And we had those huge spring break performances with the likes of Blake, Tribe Called Quest.
I envy y'all doing them shows back then, man. That was some wild shit, dude.
We did that, and imagine we had 50,000 kids on the beach, black, white, purple, green, orange, and it had not been done before like that, ever.
How many people died? How many folks died?
No one died. And the crazy thing was, we shot that show, and 2 hours prior, there was a massive hurricane. So when we had to wait for the hurricane, they cleaned off the stage, and the kids sat in the hurricane and got soaked.
Wow.
To wait to see your MTV Raps.
Wow. Willie Moore, much love to you, Doc. I see you drop something in the chat room, in the super chat. Much love to my boy Willie Moore out of Vegas. Hey, Dre, the chat room want to know, how did you recover from that punch from Mike Tyson, man?
That was funny. No, I didn't get punched. Ed got punched.
The
story is, and we tell the story. We were shooting an episode. We were shooting a week with Mike Tyson in Las Vegas before one of his fights, and we were going to go outside of Mike's compound.
Okay.
But they couldn't find the key to the gate, so I had to climb up the gate. So Ed climbed up and jumped over. Mike climbed up and jumped over. Don Cornelius said, "Oh, forget that. I ain't doing that." So they were like, "Dre, you got to come across." And I said, "Oh, I can climb the fence." And I got on the fence, and the fence broke.
Oh, shit.
And Mike said, Don, I can drink with my fucking fence. I can drink with my fucking fence. Hey, you fat boy, what you do my fence? I said, I didn't do anything. It just kind of like leaned. What do you want me to do? I was hysterical. So Ed was talking to Mike, and he said some kind of joke to Mike. And Mike said, "Oh, you think you're funny, N.W.A?" And he said, "Pow." And Ed was talking, and he just doubled over and grabbed his stomach. And I finished the segment. And Mike said, that was funny, Ed. That's funny. Ed couldn't breathe.
Wow.
He was like, I can't breathe. I said, Mike, can't hit Ed. You're the heavyweight champion of the world. What's wrong with you? But we love Mike Tyson.
Hey, man.
I don't care what anybody says.
My man.
Mike was a driving force for us at Yo and us as young black men at that time. We all loved Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I used to love
Still
watching
do.
the many fights he used to have. You go take a piss, come back, fight over with. Hey, did Ed Lover really slap Easy E?
You know what? I'm not gonna tell that story. We're gonna get Ed on one time.
Do that.
Let Ed
Do
tell
that.
story.
I'd love to have him on the show. I'd love to have him on the show. Let's do that.
I'm gonna call Ed, and then both of us are gonna get on, and you can ask him, and I'll see if T's available, and we'll all get on and we'll tell some stories.
Come on, man. You know, my audience, man. I kind of specialize in old school stories because I look at this, man. You know, we're pioneers in our various genres, and
Mm-hmm.
some of these youngsters were babies. We did this stuff, man. They were kids.
Some of these youngsters weren't born.
Someone wasn't born yet. Someone was born because of us. Okay.
Some of them were born because they were nothing but a cheap thing, baby.
Right. And
some of them were born because they got the backup off me. Yeah.
And
this is what happened.
So I love sharing these stories because it reminds me of my dad telling the stories. Him and my uncle would tell stories about being in the woods back in Mississippi, going to school, walking to school every day, uphill both ways and shit like that. And I'm like, come on, man. But these folks, you know, I'm bringing people to this channel that everybody don't get. I mean, I know you do a lot of shows, but my audience is a different kind of audience. They like these guys, like these folks like the real history of West Coast hip hop. That's why I specialize in the old school players. I could probably get some new guys, but the old school for me, man, is trying to bring back that nostalgia and just understand that hip hop wasn't always shoot them up, kill them up, fuck them up. You know, it was
not.
We had fun,
there
man.
There was movies like Breaking and Breaking 2 with Boogaloo Shrimp and company, and we all danced to that. There was the LA Dream Team. I mean, I'm gonna go back.
Right.
I'm gonna go back. The Egyptian what was the guy? Come on, Lonzo, the Egyptian.
Egyptian Lover. Egyptian Lover.
Yeah, Egyptian Lover. I mean, I knew all that.
You know what though?
I knew all that.
We were all around the same time. We just missed all that shit. We didn't get no MTV Raps. We didn't get no damn Soul Train. Wrecking Crew missed all that shit.
Let me tell you something. I had the World Class Wrecking Crew to turn off the lights on because I was at BAU at the time. Because another good friend of mine who grew up with me in Newcastle, Westbury, on Long Island, his name was Greg Royal, who's also known as Mixmaster G and the Turntable Orchestra.
Okay.
And he helped produce the Chronic with Dre and he helped produce all those early stuffs with N.W.A.
Okay.
That dude was from my time. So like when I was listening when Dre changed the music around, I said, wait a minute. Y'all weren't doing that. Y'all were doing Turn Off the Lights, the World Class.
I remember. I was doing
this.
Wait.
Y'all were doing what?
Go ahead.
Then I saw that, and then I was talking to Greg because Craig used to work at K-Ace.
Yeah, I know Greg. I know Greg Royal.
You know Greg Royal?
Yeah.
So Greg Royal's from Newcastle, Westbury. We grew up. He used to have a DJ group called Music Mind. My group was called The Concept. And we used to DJ in the parks. When I tell this story that's going to come out, you will talk about, and it's not about Coast, because we never thought of things in terms of Coast.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you, we were huge fans of Soul Train.
Okay.
And I remember the first time I met the great Don Cornelius.
Okay.
God bless him. And matter of fact, I was at a thing called Jack the Rapper. Remember that?
Come on, man. That was my spot.
I was at Jack the Rapper in Atlanta. Right?
Come on.
I got on the elevator with Don Cornelius, Barry White, Isaac Hayes, and Nick.
Come on, man. That's a lot of deep voices, man. A lot of baritones there, boy.
So, and I'm not going to be disparaging to Don because I love him. And I told him that. But it was amazing how Barry White and Isaac had my back. So Don looked at me and said, oh, Mr. Cornelius, how you doing? My name is Dr. Dre. I do the show called I Know Who You Are, Mother. I said, what? He said, yeah, y'all know you think I'm like, whoa, dude, I grew up on you. I was saying thank you. And Barry White looked at me and said, yo, man, Don, this young blood is blessing you, man. And then my friend Isaac Hayes, which I ended up becoming great friends with Isaac Hayes much later, He said, you gotta work with these young bloods because they love you. He's not your competition. He's actually your student.
Right.
And Don looked at me and he frowned his brow for a moment, and I sat down, and because when you were Jack the Rapper, everybody was hanging out in lobbies.
Everybody, it was it was a madness, dude.
Everybody said, he came back over to me later. He said, "I apologize. I mean, I just thought, you rap guys." I says, "No, man, we're not all the same. We're not all the same." I first met Hammer Down at Jack the Rapper when he was the Holy Ghost Rhymer. That was one of
Holy
Ed's
Ghost
best
Rapper.
friends.
Wow.
He was the Holy Ghost Rapper at the time.
Holy Ghost Rapper.
We have to find a way with all this technology and social media platforming and this thing that we have, and start loving each other a little bit more. Because we can stop the violence that's going on in our cities. We can change the attitude and the culture. We can actually raise things to a different place. And you can still be yourself. You can still make your point your way. But share the culture. I'm here to build bridges. And that's why Lonzo and I are doing this. Because we want to build bridges. We don't want to say, "Oh, that was this back then." No, we all were part of this. No matter how you want to look at it, everybody shared to make this thing become what it is today.
I gotta make a little correction. I'm looking at the chat room right now. My man says, "Celebrate Life" says, "Dr. Dre and your MTV Raps killed Soul Train. That's why Don was hating." Not really, Doc. Don was sick, dude. Don had issues. Yeah. If you watch the last few years of Soul Train, Don wasn't the host no more. He had Shamar Moore hosting. He had Richard Pryor hosting. He had all kinds of people hosting, trying to find somebody to fill his slot because he had health issues. And Don Cornelius, although he didn't sing or dance, was the reason why you watched the show. It was, you watched it for the dances and the acts, but something about that dude hosting, it just made you feel comfortable. You got this grown dude in these fly ass suits, these big ass ties and shit. I'm a product of Don Cornelius. Lonzo
you know what bothered me about Soul Train one time?
What's that?
Is that because of my relationship with Run DMC, Run DMC performed on American Bandstand before they performed on Soul Train. And that should have never happened.
Right.
That should have never, ever happened.
Right.
Not that you can't, do it in reverse better. And I mean, by Run DMC performing on American Bandstand, and this was before Walk This Way. This was with Rockbox and King of Rock. They were on American Bandstand.
Okay.
And I understood Don had issues with wanting to deal with rappers, but
I heard about that. I did hear about that.
You can't. I'm just saying for my own self, and the reason Yo didn't kill Soul Train. We didn't try to. Ed and I had nothing to do with when Yo came on the air. We didn't own it like, "Oh, let's go up against Soul Train." No, because I would have said, "No, why don't we either come on before Soul Train or come on after Soul Train and let Soul Train give us a shout and we give them a shout, and that will keep that energy going." Because Don Cornelius was our master planner. I don't care what anybody said.
Dude.
I watched American Bandstand.
Eve After Dark.
Soul Train.
Eve After Dark was my Soul Train without the cameras, dude. I hosted every show. If I got pictures of me hosting from Eve After Dark, me hosting at Dudo's, me hosting at Skateland, because watching Don Cornelius made me realize, first of all, you got to be clean to step in front of your audience. You got to be clean, and that was something that was on my to-do list. Be clean. Have your hair, whether it be your Jerry curl or your natural, every hair got to be in place. Okay, and that was he was one of my mentors, along with Barry White. James Brown, because James Brown was one of the first black men to own his own record label. He wasn't the first, but one of the first. I think Jackie Wilson was the first.
Sam Cooke owned his own label.
Sam Cooke,
Wilson did also own his own label.
Right.
But James Brown put his face on the record, and that's what made me go, "This is what I want to do." And the thing is, I met James Brown at many times, intervals of my life, because James Brown had a home in Queens, New York, right around the corner from my grandmother in St. Albans, Queens. Right. So we used to always go there, and you'd ring on James Brown's door, and they'd give you 45s. It was the coolest thing ever. So when you talk about those immortals and those great icons of this music industry, that's why I don't like people putting down certain folks. You may not have agreed with certain moves they made, but sometimes don't look it through the prism of today. Understand what they were going through at that time. Like I marvel when I watch on MeTV, the Ed Sullivan Show,
Right.
and I get to see,
Jackson
I get to
5.
watch the Supremes, Jackson 5, Temptations,
yeah,
Marvin Gaye, and I go Stevie Wonder, because when I was younger, because I wasn't that old at that time in concert, but I knew when you hear the music, and he was playing that, I was like, that's what made Ed Sullivan so big. He wasn't so stupid to say, no, black people can't perform here. He had Richard Pryor on there for about 20 times because he loved Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
I mean, so when you look at this, we have to work together and continue to build these synergies. And don't get like the NFL, where, I mean, it took one head coach who was fired down in Miami to cause a stir. Now they say, oh, no, we got Lovie Smith. We got Lovie Smith in Houston. And then we still have Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin is one of the winningest head coaches in NFL history. He has not had a losing season ever in Pittsburgh. Not one losing season. And won a Super Bowl. So when I reflect on this, and I don't always say, well, we got to say rap is all black. No. Rap, hip-hop was a multiple cultural diversity for all people. That's why I hate it when we coasted things. Oh, the West Coast, East Coast, down South, dirty South, mid. No, because when you watch Yo MTV Raps, we never said where anybody was from. It had the logo. Yo MTV Raps, N.W.A. Yo MTV Raps, Too Short. Yo MTV Raps, E40. Yo MTV Raps, Outkast. Yo MTV Raps, 2 Live Crew. Yo MTV Raps, Run DMC. You see, because when you don't make it coastal, it becomes global. And that's why Yo MTV Raps was so popular.
Who owns the tapes for that show right now? You have any copies of that show?
MTV.
No.
It's not our intellectual property.
No copy. I mean, because D Barnes, who had Pump It Up, she was the only person that took time to record that show. She said they didn't think nothing about the show, so she would ask for a copy of the show, and she kept it. And she can't do nothing with it, but still, she has copies of the show, and she was it's just back then.
Now, let me keep it interesting for you.
Go ahead.
Let me keep that interesting for you too. I used to manage D Barnes. Ed and I used to manage D Barnes and her group Body and Soul when they were on Delicious Vinyl, and when she did Pump It Up.
Okay.
I'm the one who had to talk with Dre when the incident happened. Yeah. I was there. I wasn't at the incident because I was coming from Detroit to LA, and my brother and Ed was there when everything went down. But you got to read my book about that.
Now, Dre, you and
watch the show. We'll talk about it.
Have you ever been to my house?
I haven't been to your house, but I met you. I tell you before, I met you twice. I'm just trying to remember exactly where it was. I don't know if I met you at a studio one time, and we sat, and because we were introduced. Yo, Lonzo, this is Dr. Dre.
Right.
And the funny thing is, when you get Dre and I in the same room, people kind of swear, well, what do we call him?
Right.
How do we just say? I said, okay, I'm the big one. He's a skinny one. There it is. Keep it simple. That's why. But the funniest thing, people would call Ed me and call me Ed. I said, we don't even look alike. How does that happen?
Now, it's funny for you to say that. I mean, you mentioned that you managed Body and Soul. The other part of Body and Soul, D Barnes' partner, was my roommate for about 5 years. They got the deal. Jeff, DJ Pooh, their dance crew, all of them would rehearse in the studio I'm sitting in right now because Rose lived here, and Dre would be in the studio. Man, that's amazing, dude. But people say, Lonzo, where were you at? I was always doing other shit because because
that's what you had to do, because we didn't have the technology to sit in one place and capture everything. So you had to hustle. I had to hustle. One thing I learned coming out to LA, and people used to say this to me, they said, Dre, how do you do 6 meetings in LA and drive all over the city? I said, that's what I do in New York. We don't do that out here.
Right.
You can do a meeting, but I would go to Warner Brothers. I go back the opposite way. I'd be in Burbank, then I go back into LA, then I go across to this thing, then I meet over here with this. Like, dude, how do you do that? I said, that's what we do.
Soul Brothers, thank you, American Negro. Her dance. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my chat room as you're talking, and their group, their dancers were called the Soul Brothers. They rehearsed in my studio that I'm sitting in right now. Okay,
Get out of here.
yeah, dude. I've been here 37, 38 years, man. Since 1985, whatever the numbers on that is. I've been here since 1985, and Rose was a roommate of mine for years. D Barnes. I mean, when she got the call for when they called her mama's house to tell her that they want to interview her again for your MTV Raps, she was at my house when she got the call. You know, and I heard some of the grumblings about her Rose not being there. It wasn't so much Rose, but at that time, people it was a different era, man. Because here in hip hop, I remember when they hated on Will Smith because he was too clean. They hated on Hammer. Okay, some people felt that D Barnes should have did the same thing that Fresh Prince did for Jeff, Jazzy Jeff, and it wasn't her call. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't her call. Go ahead.
We had those discussions at Delicious Vinyl. That's why she asked us to manage them, because she thought it would give them a different leverage, and we were trying to. But then when the incident happened with Ice Cube and her, and I remember when she called me in tears and afraid, and I said, well, we'll be out there this weekend. Just sit tight. Let me get out there so we can talk face to face. On a phone, no one's going to listen the same way as when I'm face to face with them. And matter of fact, Ed and my brother went out there because they were at a Def Jam party when all of that happened.
Wow.
And it just got out of control. And Dee was, I mean, of course she would be hysterical, but I was very close to Rose, Def Jeff. I knew Tone Loc before he dropped. I knew all of them, everybody. Not because that was the blessing of going back and forth and being on Yo. But the one thing we didn't do, Ed and I never, ever, even when we went out and went to Ice-T's crib first time, everybody, my conception, and we're all in the same gang. Been there, done all of that. Never did we say, let's separate this and do this. Because they kept asking me, well, Dre, how come y'all don't play the music on the radio? Because Ed and I got on 2 different radio stations in New York. We were on BLS and we were on, we created Hot 97 and did that morning show. I'm the first one who played N.W.A. on the radio because there was no clean edit.
Okay.
There was no clean edit to the time. So I had to edit it. And people were like, why are you playing that here? I said, because y'all need to listen to other stuff too. There's nothing wrong. And you know how territorial. See, people think, oh, the East Coast is territorial to the West Coast. Hell no. I grew up in Long Island. I grew up in Nassau County. And they used to say I lived in the Boondocks. And Greg, you know Greg Royal.
Yes.
We lived in Newcastle. So we had to compete with Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Harlem, downtown. We got no respect. So when people like Eric B and Rakim come out, we move the crowd and all that stuff, and EPMD comes out and Public Enemy comes out, we had to fight for our little respect that we had. And coming out with Pump That Bass as original concept, we had to fight for every little thing. So when we went across the country, hell no, I'm not segregating any of my people because I know what it's like. You can't get played. So that's why we did radio, because we wanted to expose and play a lot of other music that was coming from us, but people then would run out and then they claim, oh, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from Queens. I said, no, I'm from here. That's why I celebrate. I'm from Newcastle, Westbury, period.
Wow. Okay. Man, you know what? My chat room is fired up today, man. I got all kind of questions.
I think we're talking to them.
Let me see here. American Negro, much love for all the support. I got somebody, my American Negroes in there handling folks for me. He's dropping some knowledge on me. He's having people subscribe and help the channel grow. Long Island hella down on the map, can't complain. Shout out to Julio G and K-Day, Mix Masters, and peace to Greg Mack and Mac Attack. Tone Low.
Yeah, Greg Mack, do Greg Mack well too.
You know, I sit here sometimes, man, and I have to shut up sometimes because when I start talking about all the shit I did, I sound like a know-it-all. And you know, I never want to be a know-it-all. Huh?
You're a historian,
but
you're telling the history that you experienced, and that you've been around.
I'm damn
and
near.
that's one reason why.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I know I'm damn near done it all though. Okay. When I'm listening to the names he's dropping, and I got stories, but everybody, even UTFO and World Class Record Crew did a ton of shows together with Roxanne Shante, Real Roxanne, and some other folks back in the day, man. Even Houdini, and by that time, because we finally met a group of folks. Because from the beginning, we were doing a lot of stuff with R&B acts, and by that time, we were starting to merge into some hip hop acts. But there were only 2 hip hop acts on the West Coast at that time that had a tour. That was Egyptian Lover and LA Dream Team, and we very seldom played together. We played together in LA, but on the road, I can't recall ever playing with Egyptian Lover on the road or LA Dream Team. Now we played in shows in LA together, Street Scene and San Diego, San Jose, but for the most part, we never really played together. But I'm just listening to you from a brother from other side of the country. I ain't gonna call it East Coast, and it's just amazing how our lives have kind of paralleled, and we didn't hang out that much,
I remember because and people tell you, they say, well, Ed's always out. Where's Dre? Dre either didn't sleep or Dre was running other deals quietly. And that's what I did. I would hang out, but I would like to go hang out where it wasn't a big fanfare. I like to go hang out and see where people were like just doing what they did. I was hanging in Compton and no one knew I was there like that. I was just.
You didn't check in, man. You didn't check in?
Because I didn't know. I'm
just messing with you.
I'm the kind of person, I used to go to Inglewood. When I lived out on Curzon in Wilshire, when I lived in LA for a year and a half, I used to be all over the place. I was at the Magic Johnson theaters. I was all over there because I would ride by myself. People say, Trey, you ride by yourself? Aren't you scared? I'm not scared. Scared of what? Because I remember when original concert first came out to LA, and we had a song called Knowledge Me. And the reason the song was so big is because the song goes, yo, cuz, yo, I went down to the Hempstead terminal, word, cousin, and the guards came up to me. What was they kicking to you, cuz? They said, knowledge me, Ahmed. And Rick and them said, Dre, do you know what you're doing on the West Coast? People are going crazy with that yo cuz thing.
Wow.
I said, I didn't believe that. I went out there and I heard it. Greg told me, he said, yo, do you know how big this knowledge me yo cuz thing is? What made you say that? Because it was what we did at the radio station. It was a promo for the radio station.
Wow.
And everybody was on the station. So when we first got flown out there in the Bay Area.
Oh. All right, folks. While if Dre dropped out, he shouldn't have, but if he did, I want to give him a shout out to my man Matt Treese, dropping that little something in the chat room in the super chat. Much love to you, all my folks, man. I thank y'all for all these comments. Y'all keeping me busy. If Dusty was here, he'd be busy as hell. Y'all keeping me busy on the side with all these Willie Moses, with all the support, all the questions. Cuz like 3,000 times in one song. Original concept brought up Psycho Les of the Beatnuts and Tony A of podcast on Tony A's podcast last night. Also, Maestro. I think somebody said Maestro, one of my favorite comedians. I don't see him that much. Is doing a podcast right now. I'm gonna probably drop in if I can find out where it's at. But Dre, we almost time to wrap up, man. Everybody want to know where can they find you at, Dre?
Oh, it's real simple, man. You can go to the Instagram. You can go to the Twitter at Dr. Dre 39, but spell out the word Dr. DOCTORDRE, the number 39 at the Instagram and at the Twitter. And you'll be finding out a lot more because Lonzo got to jump back on about my foundation, the Dr. Dre Victory Foundation, and a big challenge we're going to lay out for everybody because I consider myself super bad. I'm a blind amputee and a type 2 diabetic, and I'm super bad because I don't let anything slow me down, and I'm not stopping for nothing. I'm just grabbing the bag, and we're going to get on the road. And Lonzo, we're going to have some fun with this.
Let's do it. Hey, Dre.
This 22 is what we're going to do.
Before you go, Dre, top 3 your MTV Rap episodes? Quick.
Well, the top 3 would be number 1, the last episode with that incredible freestyle with everyone.
Okay.
My partner Ed Lover led the pack with
Okay.
everybody, with KRS-One, with Rakim, with EPMD, with the list goes on.
Number 2.
Fab was in there. It's just number 2 episode. I gotta say, the Mike Tyson week.
Number 3.
All our spring breaks.
All right, man. Much love, Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre of your MTV Raps. But we had something else planned. But man, sometimes we just get to talking, Doc. That's how we do it all the time. That's why we hooked up. That's why we tight, folks. We just like to talk to each other.
I keep telling you when you're ready to do another one, let me know.
You got it, man. Bernadette over in the corner in the back, keeping an eye on both of us. She over there monitoring the show right quick. Dre, much love to you.
Big shout out to Queen Bernadette. Love you, baby.
Much love to you, Bernadette.
Thank
folks.
you.
Everybody, chat room, got love, nothing but love for you, baby. Dre, back at you. We're going to make something happen. We're going to bring some fun back to hip-hop, folks. You watch this 2 old cats.
Thanks, everybody. And enjoy the Super Bowl halftime show.
You got
it. Should be spectacular.
We are out of here, folks.
To watch the game.
From the West Coast to the East Coast and everything between, folks. You're live with Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip-hop. This is how we do it. This is how it's done. We're out of here, folks. I got to run. Peace.
Peace.
This is how we do it. This is how it's done. Folks, I got